$50 interest on it. That's literally what it ended up being. And why wouldn't you? And then you let all the other dealers start trickling them back into the market because they're all smart enough to release them in waves so they don't get got on prices. It's not going to be like that with sports cards. All these people getting their PSA cards back, they are going to be flooding the market. Man, I am telling you, I understand people that are heavily invested do not want to believe it. But when 10 million cards come flooding back into the marketplace at the end of this 3-month period, and you have HGA and Beckett and all these other places that continue to pump more cards out because PSA is closed, I'm telling you, man, the market crash is coming. It may not be a complete bubble bust. That's not what I mean. But these prices that people are paying for base rookie cards out of Prism for all of these people like 2020 rookie class of football and whatever, those are not sustainable prices. They are not realistic. And when you are buying cards at the same price as the greatest football player of all time, Tom Brady, arguably, I understand, but at this point, we have to call it what it is. As far as stats go and rings go,
much begrudgingly to you.
I mean, we got to call it what it is. If that guy's rookie cards are what they are, and you've got modern printed cards going for that, like there's no reason why Zion cards of any kind should sell for more than Jordans. There's absolutely no reason why Luka rookie cards should sell for more than Jordans. Period. It shouldn't happen, and it has. It's been happening. You cannot tell me that they're going to maintain that value. Now, one of ones are what they are, but that one of one Luka 3 years from now, if Luka breaks his knee 2 years in a row and has 2 bad years, God forbid, that's not what I hope, but he has 2 bad years, he falls off the face of planet Earth, he gets a drug addiction, you name it, any terrible thing that could happen. And again, God forbid, I don't want any of that to happen. I'm just saying all of those natural factors could happen. And you just paid 1 point however many millions of dollars for a rookie card that ends up being $50,000 because it's a one-on-one only, and the guy was good, but he never made Hall of Fame. He didn't get the MVP status that everybody thought he would. What did you just pay for? You just paid for a guy that is a has-been. And you could have bought a Jordan that 5 years from now is probably going to be up $200,000 more than it is now. You know what I'm saying? So there's no justification for that. There's no market backing for that. The gold standard is gone.
Do you think that because of recency bias and the demographic of people that are collecting sports cards was a much older crowd 3 years ago and it's getting much younger, do you think that's why we're seeing modern cards be the prices they are? Because all of the people or a lot of the new blood that's coming in and collecting sports cards is watching these guys and you know, they're thinking that Zion and Luka are essentially their Michael Jordan, as was Bill Russell was the greatest of all time before Michael Jordan.
I think that records are meant to be broken, and I think that the greatest of all times will be somebody new at some point in time. But the sports card market right now is just like NBA Top Shot. It's just longer term because it's tangible goods. Excuse me. Look at what Top Shot's doing. Top Shot stuff, everybody was jumping on that for the hype train. They bought up the big name players. They got in thousands and thousands of dollars for stuff. What is it now? People are jumping ship. They're buying packs and they're liquidating. They're buying packs and they're liquidating. It is not feasible to do challenges anymore. It's not worth spending the money to do challenges anymore. You know, you spend the money, you get the big pack, you sell your stuff. You sell your stuff over and over and over again. More importantly, that Cool Cats drop today, 165,000 people. Did you notice that?
Yeah, it got up to 260, but at launch,
there was 160 that were in there when they were supposed to be. I can tell you a month ago when we were at 300,000 in there at Q,
300,
and got up to like 330,000.
So that's half the people are out in just a couple weeks.
No, Toby, we did not get them.
We both
did
both not get one, but I do have a pack to open.
Yeah, we both do.
So does Aaron.
But that's the thing. For us, the sports card market has a lot of people in it, but they're tangible goods. But let me explain something. And everybody in the chat, please don't roast me here. Just understand where I'm coming from. I'm giving you my honest thoughts. And from being an investor in this market, I bought a Corvette, a very nice race car with collectibles. I bought a house with collectibles. I have been in this industry since I was a teenager. I've been hustling in this industry for a very long time. Cards are a useless thing. Okay? What they give you is a sense of nostalgia and enjoyment about what emotion that card brings to you. Okay? And that we're going to talk about the PC stuff later tonight, and we'll talk about my reasoning behind that and what I'm going with there. But why I'm saying that right now. These cards that we're holding in front of us, this does nothing for me. Okay? We're turning this into a currency. Cards are beginning to be a collectible currency, like coins have been for many, many years. The difference is coins are made out of precious metals or have an actual denomination value. Cards don't. Okay? So immediately, cards less than coins, long term. Again, please don't roast me here. Just hear me out here. 2, digital age is upon us. Where the kids coming up in the world right now are digital. I mean, Blake, man, your son is already streaming his own Twitch channel. How old is Braden? Okay.
10.
Your 10-year-old has his own Twitch channel and is streaming. Okay? Influencer status is everything. I watched a Gary V podcasting about it earlier when I was having lunch. What these cards are is Top Shot in a longer line. The lineage is there. The bubble must burst because these pieces of cardboard cannot sustain anything long-term usefulness-wise. They don't have the precious metal backing. They do not have an actual currency denomination backing. Literally, they do not do anything besides incite some emotion of nostalgia or enjoyment over going, I'm a huge Drew Brees fan, I got a Drew Brees PC. That's it. That's all at the end of the day. If the power goes out, that's all these cards are. If the world goes into apocalyptic form, they are literally bonfire material, and that's when they become useful. Okay? So...
Wow,
and obviously I'm well invested in the collectibles market.
Not my Michael
Well,
Jordan.
I know. But at the end of the day, the people that want to lose sight of that have been in this for a long time, that don't comprehend that, are the ones that are going to lose in the end of this whole race, right?
All right. Okay. All right. So I hear you and I agree with you, but now tell the people how to win on a channel that covers this stuff. What's the win condition here then?
1, when you're collecting a PC, your PC goal should be that at the end of the day, if the power goes out and you have nothing left but you, your dog, a can of beans, and your card collection sitting next to you, in that moment of terrible, are you going to be able to look at that card and go, man, I'm real glad I had a John Elway rookie because, dude, watching that guy play was so awesome. Loved the Broncos. I remember going to the game with my dad. Like, if it gives you that, that's what you got to be happy about. At the end of the day, you have to love the cards that are in your PC. That if the lights go out tomorrow, if the values are nothing, which can happen. I know people don't want to admit that, but it can happen. You gotta love what you got in your PC for you and what it brings you, the joy it brings you. That is the first First
Well, here
rule.
in Texas, the power went out like a month and a half ago for
Yeah, and I
2
went through
weeks.
my
So
cards and went, "Oh, look, I've got these cards." I wonder
yeah, which cards did you burn
which
during the
cards can
Great
go
Freeze?
into my fireplace to keep me warm.
All base cards.
It's like, man, I have so many cards. No, but the number two,
Okay, so first point is collect
collect what you love.
what you like.
Two, because here's the thing: if your PC is full of things that you love, regardless of how much money it is or is not worth, then you win. You can't lose at that. I paid $600
Right.
for the Drew Brees 1-of-1 Phoenix. It is my absolute favorite player for my absolute favorite team out of my absolute favorite set. It is the only one in existence. I do not care how much that card is worth. If it's not worth the $600 I paid for it tomorrow, okay, great. I still want it, and it's mine. And when I look at it, I go, sweet. And by the way, it's color matched because it's gold. That beside the point. What I'm getting at there is I can't lose with that. Okay, you never
Right.
lose if you love what you got. Point two. If you are trying to do it for the values, okay, there is long-term hold and there is short-term flipping. Okay. You need to understand that those two are very opposite ends of the spectrum, but play on the same common sense items of collecting and investing. Okay? So, you do them in different ways, you go about them in completely different ways, but the thought process of making the purchases in common sense terms is the same. All right? What I mean by that, if you're short-term flipping, you're looking for modern players. You're not short-term flipping Joe Montanas and Terry Bradshaws. Right. You're short-term flipping the Lucas, the Zions, the Alvarez, the whoever's, okay?
And that's based off their play and the hype.
And every bit of that is
that.
Using a metric system no different than daily fantasy people do to go, this guy has XYZ and he's going to be worth it, right? If you go back to our original content when we first started this podcast, who was it that I was talking about was going to be the guy? Who was it that I was buying into breaks on?
Justin
Jefferson. I bought into...
And this was like at the very, very beginning of the football season.
And I bought in on Justin Jefferson rookie cards for $1 here. I bought in on breaks and got cheap Minnesota Vikings breaks because nobody understood what Justin Jefferson could potentially be. Everybody was on Burrows and Herberts and whatever. I get it. He's not a quarterback. But at the end of the day, he broke the rookie receiving record. He potentially could go down as one of the best receivers of all time. He has the potential to do that. He's on a team.
And he led my dynasty fantasy football team to championship.
There's a number of things about that. So the common sense idea that goes into that is I knew what he was out of college. I knew that the team that he won a national championship with might as well have been an NFL caliber team in college. Going into the NFL, I know that the school he came out of has a history of producing Hall of Fame caliber players in NFL. I know for a fact that looking at it, everything lines up for him to be with an organization that can throw him the ball because Kirk Cousins is a better than average quarterback. I know that he's got an offensive line to block. He's got a number one receiver across from him that can make sure that they take coverage off of him. There's all of these number of factors there that to me goes... that guy's going to have a baller rookie season. And if he does what I think he's going to do, then immediately his cards are going to triple in value. And what did they do? They did exactly that. And going into next year, when fantasy football season comes around, his draft stock is going to go way up. He's going to be a second-round receiver at, if not potentially low first round for some people. Could happen depending on what the Vikings do. There may be people that understand how good he will be second year in that offense, being in OTAs and whatever. I digress. That type of mentality is what you got to have with the short game. You got to be looking at it from that angle. I know that. I paid attention to that. I didn't need to invest in 5 different dudes hoping one of them hit because I knew that Justin Jefferson was where I could bank on. And short of him tearing an ACL, I knew that Justin Jefferson was my money bet. And I won on that bet because I did the work. I put the common sense logic to it. Flip side of that, long term. If you're doing long-term investing in cards and collectibles, you need to understand that sports can turn on a dime, but nostalgia never goes away, okay? So, Why I say that. You see all this behind me? That's Transformers right there. Transformers goes up and down. But at the end of the day, these are worth a lot more than they were 10 years ago and 10 years before that. Those coffee mugs over there, those were worth $35 when I bought them brand new. And a few years later, they're $500, $600, $700 a mug. These pens back here, bought them for $35, $40. Some of those are several $100s a piece right now because I've held on to them for 2 or 3 years. Okay? Those are long-term holds that I invest in. Now you're saying, well, why? What makes you go and think that way? Well, let me explain where my mind is at when I'm talking about buying into these things. Okay? I bought Godzilla NFTs the other day, and I sold a pack for $7,500. Everybody laughed at me when I spent $100 on Godzilla NFT packs. And then I sold it and made $8,800 off my $100 investment in 4 days. You don't do that on the stock market unless you're investing big money. And people go, oh, well, why? Why would you buy a Godzilla? And how on earth would you do that? Well, let me tell you why. One, I'm a personal fan of Godzilla. So I'm investing in something that I know.
I like Godzilla.
I'm investing in something that I know, and I'm investing in something that I pay attention to. Two, because I pay attention to it, I know that Godzilla is a worldwide phenomenon. It is a cult classic. There are collectors of Godzilla memorabilia and merchandise worldwide. There is a hotel in Japan that is themed around Godzilla and has a giant Godzilla. Like, literally, Godzilla is a cult classic favorite. There are so many movies with Godzilla and spin-offs of the MonsterVerse is real. And so when you're looking at that and going, okay, to me, I understand that what I'm buying, I could give 2 flips if, Bob or Joe or Sally know anything about Godzilla. Because I know there is somebody in the world that is going, I am all about Godzilla. I am all in, and I want that for me, for my personal collection, because I love Godzilla. And I want to own the first. Well, what did I do? I was the first in line. I bought the first ever pack. I also bought the 3rd, 5th, and 7th ever pack. And I made my quick money on that because I said I know what Godzilla is in the world. Okay? So here's where I'm going with all of that so that everybody can understand my message. My message here is I knew what I was buying because I know that product. More importantly, I know that theme is long-term. Transformers never going away. There's nothing that is ever going to happen that makes Transformers fade into oblivion. There are too many shows. They have had too many movies, like them or not, like Michael Bay or not, doesn't matter. Blockbuster movies. These action figures still on the aisle at Walmart. These action figures right here, all of these have been reprinted. But there are San Diego Comic-Con ones up there that are $1,000. Why? I paid $45 for that at San Diego Comic-Con. I've been holding it for a few years, and now it's $1,000, right? What I'm getting at here, people, is use common sense logic. Understand that in sports, your sports holds have to be things like Joe Montana or Terry Bradshaw or something long-term, because the nostalgia, like Terry Bradshaw, you can't take his rings away. You can't take who he was away. Joe Montana, you can't take his rings away. You can't take Tom Brady, you can't take his rings away.